Salvete mihi nomen est Stella, et hoc est Backrol the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast, episode 269 for January MMXXVI. Backrol the Oracle is brought to you by MileHighComics.com, your new and collectible comic book store. Mile High Comics has an inventory of over 5 million comics from the gold, silver, bronze, and modern age, and over 100,000 trade paperbacks. If you're not into the vintage stock, Mile High Comics also has a subscription. It also has a subscription service called the New Issue Comics Express, offering a discounted price for comics ready to hit the shelves. So if you're looking for vintage back issues or a great modern subscription service, be sure to check out milehighcomics.com. Well, obviously, there's a spoiler. If you're watching the video, you can see who this person is, but you will soon be met with the dulcet tones of a good friend of mine. We met back up in October for Baltimore Comic Con, and I floated this idea about coming on to talk about this particular book, and he was a little gun shy about it because it opens up some can of worms. So I was like, no, it'll just be the book itself. And I wrangled him on there. I used some, guilt trips and things like that. But please welcome to the show, Shagalicious.
Or as some like to call me, the irredeemable Shag.
Some do still like to call you that, though some would say you've mellowed in your older age.
I've heard that rumor, but let's just get it started off by saying she's hot. So if I start
Okay.
there now,
Yeah.
maybe I'll get back into my old self.
Yeah,
And
maybe
I, and,
you will.
and I hope nobody's watching on video because I didn't do my hair. So
No, that's okay. We judge not. We judge not here. Well, welcome. It's 2026.
you had to add another I to your
I
your Roman
know.
numerals
And
there.
it's fun because I just taught my Latin ones Roman numerals. So we were actually
Oh,
looking at those this week. So that's a lot of fun. But I like to look back at 2025. Um, in the real world, it's had its ups and downs, but taking a page
man.
from your book, finding the joy
Oh,
in
okay.
positive things, taking a pitch from your book, finding joy in the things that happened in 2025, and of course looking forward and hoping for good things in 2026. So yeah, I normally go through different categories and just say like this was my favorite thing that I engaged with or experienced. And so Shag said he was game for this, and so I think we'll go through some categories I do not have, some categories Shag does not have. But are you, yeah, just ready to hit the ground running? And then, of course, we'll tell people why you're on this show after this.
Sure thing. Let's do it.
Okay. Video game was one category you do not have, right?
Because I'm an old man.
You could have brought out your Atari.
Asteroids.
Yeah, something like that. My favorite video game of 2025 was definitely Ghost of Yotei, which is the sequel, like spiritual sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. And yeah, just love the lead character, love the story, was really immersed in Japan and was I grinding it out. I suppose I was coming home and playing it, which normally I don't do during the school week. I don't really have the energy, but just had so much fun with that, and that would be my top game of the year. So there you go. Okay, you definitely have this top comic book of 2025,
And mine doesn't actually come from this year. It's comics that I've been reading this
which is
year.
completely
So
fine. Yeah.
I've actually got two. Batman Superman World's Finest by Mark Waid. I
Okay.
don't know if you've been reading this or not.
I have
It
not.
is phenomenal. It is what they've done is found a way to tell a new modern story with like Dan Mora art. So the art's gorgeous, and yet somehow capture the nostalgia of old like Silver and Bronze Age comics without being cheesy.
Mm,
Mark Waid has just found this magical formula, which is part of the reason he's running so many of the books now. It's why he moved on to Just League Unlimited, and he's been kind of running the show at DC for a little while now because this book is so excellent. So cannot recommend enough. Batman, Superman, World's Finest is still going.
yeah.
It's I'm catching up. I'm somewhere in like issues 30s or something now, but just a great comic. And then you'll like this because it's Star Wars. I finally got around to reading some what I call newer Marvel comics, and by
Sure.
newer I mean they were 10 years old. Darth Vader from 2015
Oh yeah.
by Kieran Gillen was
Yep.
excellent. It was so good. That's where they introduced Dr. Aphra,
Yep.
and what is it, a 000 and whatever the other little R2 droid or
A
R5 droid
murder
that's
bot. Yeah.
yeah, the murder bots. But loved both of those series. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What
I
about you?
love that as well. That was where they introduced his tower, right? On Mustafar. Wasn't it that series too? Or
They
was that later?
may have. I mean, it was in. Yeah, that may have been. It could have been. It could have been.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I was thinking it was in Rogue One, but that was probably before Rogue One, wouldn't it? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I
What about you?
remember
Oh,
enjoying that series. Yeah, no, I was just saying that when I was reading that, I also liked it. Yeah, I haven't been reading too. I mean, the big thing was Birds of Prey for me. I now in 2026 I got Wonder Woman, so I'm excited to give that a go. And I did really like Tom King on Wonder Woman as well, but I think just to continue my allegiance to Kelly Thompson, Birds of Prey, rest in peace, was my favorite, and I enjoyed covering it and reading it every month. And so I'm sad to see it go. And it was such a cool change for the roster because you're used to a certain group of people
mhm.
on the Birds of Prey, and this was, we switched it up. Of course, we had Babs and Dinah, and we got to explore that dynamic and some of the tension between them, as well as who is the actual leader. But then I think the breakout stars really were Big Barda and Cassandra Cain, and just having this chemistry between the two that if you were to say that it's something that you would never even imagine, but just this like buddy cop that's happening within the book. So it's definitely something that I will miss covering and reading, but I'm excited to read her Absolute Wonder Woman and maybe look for some other tale. I was just seeing that there's a Gotham City Sirens. It looks like that's
Hmm,
restarting up, and that looks kind of interesting. And I am cautiously something, maybe not optimistic, but there's a Barbara Gordon breakout
right.
that's supposed to come out in 2006. So I think Jeff Lemire, which,
2006, really?
sorry,
2006?
2026. Apologies. Well, we're
Were,
in
were,
2006 with the story
were
we're
you
about
even
to do.
born at that point?
No, not yet.
Mm,
2007 is the date. Yeah,
yeah.
but I worry just because I know that writer, but I feel like he tends to be dark. So I'm a bit concerned about that. But we'll see. That's 2026. But 2025, yeah, Birds of Prey for me, for sure.
Will comment real quick. Absolute Wonder Woman. I've only read the first few issues. I fell behind on the Absolute books, but the Absolute Wonder Woman started off great. So I hope it
Okay.
continues. But I really
Yeah.
enjoyed what I was reading. I mean, it's very different. It's very,
Yeah.
very different from what we're used to. But it was an enjoyable book. And then, similar to the Batgirl breakout, they kind of announced a bunch of retro series. Is what they like. Batgirl's one of them. Firestorm's another. And that was kind of
Oh,
my guy
okay.
for quite a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
And I am also hesitant and not
Yeah.
terribly optimistic about how it's going to turn out,
Yeah,
but
we'll
we'll see.
see. Yeah. Did you ever get that tattoo on your back of Firestorm?
Yeah, right here. Did you get that Babs on your back?
No, I've considered it, but I think it's so hard to figure out, what artist do you want? What design of her costume do you want? Like for that to be a permanent fixture on your body.
I think the hardest decision is how exactly you're going to explain that sagging, superhero to your grandchildren is what the real problem is for
Well,
me.
why are well, I guess it depends on where you put it. But I was like, well, why are your grandchildren, looking at your body?
If you go to
So
the beach,
that is true. Yeah.
yep.
Okay. So we'll move on.
I live in Florida. We
Yeah,
don't
you're
wear many
always
clothes.
in the beach. Yeah. And you've got your OnlyFans with your feet that you do during
True
beach
that.
time as well. Yeah.
So it pays for all the beautiful things people are seeing on YouTube right now.
Yeah. There you go. Top book or books of 2025. I do know that you read because I see the images that you post with your feet.
Yes, I do. My pick for this year was a book that came out in I don't even remember the copyright. It's probably like the 60s, maybe the
Hmm.
50s. I don't know. Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke. I had never, as much as I love science fiction, and I read a ton of science fiction, I'd never read any Arthur C. Clarke. And a buddy of mine recommended it to me. And in fact, he went as far as to buy me a copy and put it in my hands. And I read it, and it was exceptional. It was great. It's a little bit timely, too. It was about a object coming into our solar system that seemed a little bit strange and potentially, you've been hearing the news, I assume, about all the what is a comet or meteor or whatever. So with that number, then people think it might be from, extraterrestrials or whatever.
Oh,
Sort of. Oh, you haven't heard about this in the news? Okay.
no, I hear other things about the news, but not
Yep.
this.
I mean, there's a lot of people trying to discredit it, but there's a
Okay.
couple of people who, like from Harvard, at least somewhere reasonable, that are like, it's got enough characteristics that this might not be just natural. Anyway, that's kind of what the story is. Something comes into the solar system, they go explore. Anyway, fantastically written book, and it's got me really excited to read more Arthur C. Clarke now.
Lovely.
Yep.
I
What about
have,
you?
yes, I have two, and I maybe they're from 2025, maybe not, but it doesn't matter because this is just when I read them. So, first of all, Hera by Jennifer Saint, and these are both 5 stars. I'm very hard on my grading if anyone follows me on Goodreads, but it's very hard
He's
to get 5 stars.
vicious, cutthroat.
Yeah, I do wish that Goodreads had have half star
Me
ratings.
too.
Yeah, because it's a big jump from 3 to 4. Like I need that 3.5 or that 2.5 or something. But anyways, Hair by Jennifer Saint. I've read other Jennifer Saints. I recommend her. She did Electra and Ariadne. So she takes, I mean, if you're a fan of mythology, takes these female characters that obviously their story is wrapped up in a male. So you really only get that perspective when you're reading the source material, but looks from their perspective what was happening. And with Hera or Juno, if you're a Latin teacher like I am, Hera's a very complex character, and she just seems very vicious because she goes after these women that Zeus is assaulting. And so you want Hera to be supportive of these women and not be this villainous character, but you also feel bad for her. But you're like, why are you not supporting the women? And this really delves into, I think, why she like her motivations, as well as starting from the beginning of time throughout, like how hard it was to become the queen. And perhaps she thought that she would be one of the big three instead of just the brothers. So how
Mm.
the patriarchy affected her. So I think giving more empathy, I mean, obviously we can still, I think, condemn some of the things that she did and going after some of these women. But I think better understanding her motivations. And that was a really tough spot for Saint to be in. And she just really delivers. So I highly recommend. I did it as an extra credit for my senior class. I said, hey, if you read this and do this book report, give you extra credit. And one of the students did. And she said, even if I didn't get extra credit, I would have read this because I really liked it. So I liked that. And then my top, I guess, romance of the year is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. And I've mentioned this on the show before, but I am sort of hot and cold on Ali Hazelwood. I think some people like really, really love her. And I can sort of like give or take. I maybe have only read 3. And this one I just really liked. It takes place in college, a diver and a swimmer. I'm going to scandalize you here, but the I guess the sub theme is BDSM to a certain extent, and this idea of submissiveness and I guess domination, would that be the but that
50 shades
relationship,
of the swimming pool.
it is not that intense, and for that reason is was why I liked it, because I thought it was dealt with really smartly, and I think investigated the emotional aspects of that and really gets to this idea of like just some people, that is kind of how they tend, like that is just something they need in a relationship, and I think better understanding that, whereas 50 shades I think just went off. It's more like titillation, like what is this? But there's something I think deeper with that, and I thought that Ali Hazelwood did really well, and I liked the characters and kind of the struggle of the female character, just thinking that the guy was in it for whatever, but actually there's a lot of emotion wrapped up in there. So I really liked that one, but.
We're learning a lot about you on this show.
I know. Yeah, I would say like 5 years ago, I would not have been able to read that. I would have been like very judgmental and be like, no, BDSM is wrong. But I just have a better understanding of where that is. And I think it's true just of humans, like our love languages. I think we just require something in particular to, feel, I don't know, fulfilled or loved. And I think that in that sense, I think that that's where, BDSM comes into. But that's just my thoughts on the outside. So anyways, what is your favorite anime or cartoon? I have a guess.
What's your guess?
Bad Batch. Wait, yes, Bad Batch.
Oh, actually, close, close.
Oh.
It's Star Wars Rebels, which I watched right before
Oh,
Bad
okay.
Batch.
Yep.
So I am enjoying Bad Batch quite a bit. I just started season 3 yesterday morning on the treadmill. And I found out there's only 3 seasons, so now I'm bummed.
Hmm.
It's almost over. But Star Wars Rebels was just phenomenal. It was a great, great run. Very much feels like a role-playing game, which is something I'm really into. It feels very much like that. So brought me a lot of joy, and I'm going to steal ideas from it for my role-playing game for Star Wars coming up.
Can't wait. Now I have a question related not to BDSM, but at least to sex. Are you ready for
Okay.
this?
Hmm.
If a human
Hmm.
and I'm trying to think
Wookie.
of Harris species. No, Harris species.
Oh, what? A Harris species?
Hera
Oh,
apostrophe
Hera,
S
the Harrison
species.
Dula, the
Shoot.
she's
Yes.
a
You know what I'm
Twi'lek.
talking about? Yeah, Twi'lek. If those people have a child, why would the child have green hair and not green skin? Talk to me about the genetics there.
I can't answer these questions. I don't remember who showed that first, whether it was Rebels or Ahsoka, but either way, it was a
Oh, it was
misstep.
Rebel. Yeah, it's just like, what's this kid doing there? He just has green hair. Oh man, that was really hard to watch because I loved shipping them and then to have what happened at the very end.
Yeah, very sad. I
Yeah.
wanted, well, and I guess we got it in Ahsoka. I wanted, the names are out of my head all of a sudden. Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
uh-oh.
The young Jedi and the Mandalorian. I wanted them to connect, and
Yeah.
they kind of do in Ahsoka finally, but
Yeah.
for like 15 minutes till they're separated again. But
Yeah. Very true.
so what about you?
Yeah, mine is Legend of Korra, which I'm a bit behind the times. My controversial opinion is that Aang, the last Airbender Avatar guy, he's a dud. And so I was just like, I made it through. People talk about this, like, Jacob and Chai, they're like, you should watch this. I watched it, had a discussion with them, had issues with him. And they're like, well, you might actually really like Korra. And so then I watched Korra and I was like, wow, this is great and was easy to watch. Didn't feel like a labor, which it was for Avatar. I mean, she goes through it. They definitely give her a lot of trauma, but I really enjoyed her journey. I enjoyed the villains that seemed relevant to today and realistic, even in this fantasy world. So yes, I recommend Korra. And I just got two pops. I had said no pop
You told me this
Funkos
before. No more
on
pop. You said that a couple years ago. No more Pop Funkos.
I said no more until 2026.
Oh, whatever.
And so it's 2026. So I bought these are the last two that I want. I don't want anymore. But if Lupin the Third gets their little guys, then I'll definitely get them. But I just got a Korra and an Asami because those were the two, the ships. That's a ship at the very end. So it was
Okay.
Legend of Korra. What is your album of 2025?
I got unfortunately no music
Oh,
whatsoever. I
no
don't.
music whatsoever.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't.
okay.
I don't actually listen to music anymore.
Oh, okay.
I around the year 2001, before you were born,
Mm.
I got sick of listening to the radio and hearing the same songs over and over and over and over.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
true.
switched to audio dramas and audiobooks and eventually podcasts.
Yeah.
So now to this day, if I've got earbuds in or I'm in the car, I'm listening to an audiobook, an audio drama play, or a podcast. So
Yeah.
don't really listen to music anymore.
It's quite all right. And you're learning lots through what you are listening to, I would say.
Yeah, they're mostly Doctor Who. We're listening to nonsense. People,
Okay.
you've met our friends. Those podcasts aren't
Yeah.
educational.
Oh,
Now,
that.
I know a
Well,
girl who
mine's
does one.
educational.
I know a girl who does one on literature. I don't listen to
Yeah.
it, but anyway,
Yeah. I think you listened to like the first two just to be sure that it was up to snuff for the Fire and Water network.
I listened to several until I realized I was out of my depth. So
Okay. Well, that's good. But I passed the test because I am renewed
you're
for a
you're
fourth
wrapping up
season.
season three,
Yeah,
and
it's
you're getting ready
crazy.
to greenlight season
I
four.
know, crazy. Well, my album of the year, I think no surprise is probably will always be this way, but Silver Deliver by Ali and AJ. Just for me, that every album that they come out with is great, and I feel like they're genre bending, or they're able to just do different genres. And this one I feel like is maybe Americana. There's maybe some like Western in there as well, and I got to see them in DC in October. So that was a blessing. I always try to see them when they come. And then now they're going to be in Baltimore in May. And I'm like, should I see them again? But yes, so that is definitely my album of the year. Song for me for 2025, Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan. When I
I've heard of
first
that
heard
one.
it, yeah, when I first heard it, I thought, wow, this is great. Just like the chorus itself, I thought was great and really catchy. And then when you kind of go deeper into the lines, I felt like, wow, this is really significant for people who are kept from being their true selves, whatever the maybe family reason or some other reason, and trying to be somebody else. And I sang this at karaoke at school and shocked everybody. So it's like it was definitely the Pink Pony Club year. And then even though Arcane season 2 finished in 2024, I was still listening to this particular song, Ma Meilleur Enemy by Stromae and Palm. Anyone who's a fan will know what that is, but it takes place during an alternate universe episode, which is probably one of the best episodes of that whole series. And it's just like a great song. And so it's on my iPod, and whenever it plays, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll play it again afterwards. So those would be my top two songs of the year. Okay, TV series. Yeah,
I
you
would.
go first.
I caught up on this one. This one, I was a complete blind spot for me. But my daughter insisted that we watch The Bear,
Oh,
and so good. Oh my gosh, have you ever watched it?
I watched one episode.
Did you have an anxiety attack or something? Probably.
No, I just wasn't sold on it. I probably would have
Okay.
to watch a couple more to give it more of a fair chance.
Now, and it may be that it's a slow, but I started in the middle of season two. Well, basically, what
Oh.
happened was my wife was watching it in the room, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. She's like, well, I'm going to leave it on. I'm like, I don't care. And I couldn't pay attention to what I was
Mm,
trying to read because the show was so engrossing. So I actually started in the middle. So I don't know if the first season really grabs people the way it should. So either way, I've totally sucked in, and it gives me so much anxiety watching it because it's so intense. Everyone's screaming, everyone's yelling. The way it's filmed is so intense. I mean, you really need to like relax afterwards. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, whatever you need to calm down afterwards. But it's so good.
Yeah.
Now I am behind. I haven't finished the final season or the most recent season yet, but anyway, really got into that. And then Andor season two
Mm,
was phenomenal, so
yeah.
good. I mean, season one is amazing. Season two was equally good. So just absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I feel for me, season one was really quite slow, but I
Okay.
felt like two had more of a purpose for me. I felt like maybe one was just building to what two was happening. I felt there was a lot more emotional impact with two. And then, of course, the ending is just gut
Oh,
wrenching because, she's waiting with the baby and you're like, oh, he's not going to come back.
he's not
But
gonna
yeah,
go.
yeah, that was good. What do you think about Mon Mothma and her dance sequence?
I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, because I watched interviews also with the actors later and her talking about what was going through her head and all this stuff, and it's powerful.
Yeah,
There's actually an emotional drive behind it. So
yeah, for sure. Okay. For me, uh-oh. For me, I would say Abbott Elementary, which
fun show.
I finally started. Donovan had been pressing me for several years, and my parents were up here for Easter, and I thought, hey, let's watch Ado, let's give this a go. And so my dad, he was like iffy on it, but mom really loved it. So she's caught up as well. And yeah, it is really smartly written. It's fun. It's definitely something to bring you joy. And it's really relevant in terms of like it's realistic with the school and admin or the
Mm.
people outside of it and everything. Obviously I'm high school, so there are some slight differences, but a lot of it is pretty realistic. Yeah, so that would be my happy show. My sad slash intense show that could mirror The Bear is called Task, which
Mm.
was limited series on HBO. And I thought, oh, I'll just get this good as Mark Ruffalo in it. And I thought maybe it was going to be a heist show because I like heist things, and it turned into be way more intense than that. There's an FBI agent and there's some people who rob from drug houses,
Mm.
but beyond that, because obviously one's chasing the other, this really deep story about family, and each of the people having their own issues that they're also trying to overcome, and just like really strong character drama that I was not expecting whatsoever. So I highly
Mm.
recommend Task for people who
Mark,
haven't seen it.
it's nice to see Mark Ruffalo in things where he's not having to play a superhero kind of role, where he's
Yeah.
doing other things. I like that.
Yes.
Now, I haven't
Yes.
seen that one. I have seen Elementary, which is
Yeah.
I'm behind on that one too because I'm behind on everything. But that show is an absolute hoot. I mean,
Yes.
your joy is the right word. Like you
Yeah.
get done with every episode and you're just smiling. It's just fun.
Yeah. My mom showed my dad the museum episode when they have a sleepover in the science museum, I think it is. And Barb is trying to find her own little secret spot because she has a CPAP machine and she awakens and it scares the kids because they think that she's an alien. And my dad loved that because he has a CPAP machine. So he could very much relate to Barb in that way. but I love that. This is tough, but do you have a top TV episode of the year?
At first, I didn't,
Okay.
but then it came to me. I
Oh,
realized it's Stranger Things,
wow.
season 5, episode 4,
Okay.
which was basically it's the last part because I don't know if you follow Stranger Things or not.
I did, yeah.
Okay, and this past year it came out in 3 waves,
Yeah.
so this was the last part of the second.
Second
Oh crap,
batch?
second wave. I guess it was chapter
Yeah.
4, the Sorcerer episode. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the first. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's can I spoil a thing about Stranger Things?
I think that's fine.
Okay. So if
I
you
mean,
if
I
you did
know, so
if you're behind on season 5, folks,
yeah.
just fast
Fast
forward
forward a
15.
couple days, yeah.
Fast forward like a minute. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's when Will finally takes on the power of Vecna and he stops the Gorgons or whatever they're called, Demogorgons.
Demogorgon,
And
yeah.
okay. It's a great moment. It's a great
Yeah.
moment. So
Yeah, that was definitely great. I was glad that Max finally returned.
thank
For me,
goodness.
this it felt like not a lot happened in the second batch, so that you at least highlight, I think, the things that did happen.
Yeah.
What do you think about that unproposal?
I didn't understand it. Like it got done, and me and my daughter watched it, and we were both emotionally moved, and we're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, it's so sad," but at least they're getting back together, and they're going to get a fresh start. And my wife watches it, and she's like, "No, they broke up." We're like, "What?"
yeah,
And then we look up with the director, and like, "Yeah, they absolutely broke up." I'm like,
yeah.
"Oh,
It's
I
so
thought they were
bizarre.
saying they were just going to start over." Like, wow, that so
Yeah,
I mixed messages for me.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry, you were not alone in the confusion. I think a lot of the viewing people also were confused about that.
So, who's your favorite character in Stranger Things?
Max.
Okay.
Max is my favorite. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good second runner up, absolutely. So
Who's the first person?
Steve Harrington. So
Oh, Steve
well, maybe
Harrington.
Steve's
Yeah.
hair, maybe Steve's
Steve
hair,
Hare.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but
I was quite scared because you and I understand this as superhero fans. When we see a film and the superhero has a heart to heart with somebody, it's inevitable that that person's going to die.
yeah,
And so when Dustin and Steve were having that heart to heart, and they also said, like, if you
mm,
die, I die, I thought, oh no, they're not
yeah,
coming back. But then they made it
yeah.
out okay.
In reality, I think Nancy's probably my favorite character, but anyway,
Oh,
I
okay.
think
There.
so.
Well, the good news for you, I think they're doing a what's that called? An offshoot, not an offshoot, a spin-off.
I'd heard they're doing a book, but are they doing an actual
Oh,
series with her?
oh, I don't know. I
Hmm,
just heard it based
okay,
off of Nancy.
interesting. All
I
right.
guess we'll see. My gosh.
So do you
My
do you
yes,
have a favorite TV
I
episode?
do have a favorite TV episode. Have you heard of Heated Rivalry?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Heated Rivalry. I actually have a calendar that's pinned up that I can look at. Heated Rivalry is an amazing show. And I would almost say that that was probably one of my favorite shows as well. I was just like eager for every episode to come out. Donovan asked, what was I looking most forward to when before it came out? And I said explicit scenes. And boy, did it deliver. Well, at first it was like I'm seeing these teaser trailers. I'm like, this is amazing. What is this? And then it's just coming to a Canadian streaming network. And I thought this is no good. So what I was going to do was wait till it all came out, get a VPN, say that I was in Canada and watch it all. But hey, HBO comes to the rescue and they got it. So beyond the sex, of which there is a lot, episode 5 is actually right now the highest rated episode of all television, even beating Ozymandias in Breaking Bad. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I think it's like a 9.9 voted by several thousand. It's finally because these two really have like a situationship. I mean, they're meeting across many years and they hook up when they're in town because they play for different teams. But this was really when they started to be more honest about having feelings for one another. And obviously you have a Russian, and so this is very dangerous for him to be gay or be an out gay man. He couldn't go home. His father dies, and so he has to go over to Russia, and he's just having a hard time. His family's difficult. He's got a lot of responsibilities, and he and Shane have this phone conversation, and he expresses like, I can't really talk about it in English, and Shane says, well, why don't you just talk about it in Russian, and I'll just be here. And so he goes on about all these stresses and says, he's got this great girl who's like his best friend. He loves her, but not in the way that he loves him. And it's like finally things are like coming through. And then Shane ends up getting injured at one point, and he's kind of like doped up in the hospital, and he Ilya comes to visit him, which is also very big because that's a public space. And Shane says, why don't you come to the cottage with me over the summer, because it would be secret, no one would know about anything. And Ilya's like, oh, I don't know about that. And so we go on. In an earlier episode, we met these two other characters, Scott and Kip. Kip works at a kind of coffee shop, smoothie place, and Scott, I realize I'm talking way more about this than anything else, but I need to give context. And Scott's a hockey player, and he's not out. And so that ends up breaking them up. And so now we get to see them now. So now they're like the timelines are overlapping, and Scott wins, his team wins the Stanley Cup. It wasn't called that. And he sees all these people with their partners out on the ice, and he's super sad. And so he sees Kip, he gets Kip to come down, and then he kisses Kip on the ice. So it was like a really big thing. And meanwhile, you see Shane and Ilya watching, and they're texting back and forth, like, what's happening? And then they see this and they're both like, oh, what's going on? And then Ilya calls Shane, and Shane was about to say, like, what? And Ilya goes, I'm coming to the cottage. And that is how the episode ended. But
Oh,
it was, I think, like everything, the emotion and them being, vulnerable with each other was huge. And then also the Shane and Kip moment. I mean, I teared up during that because it was just very beautiful. Because that's very hard for athletes. Like, this is realistic storytelling in terms of, there are many male athletes, because I think it's easier for women to be out. Not easy, but easier. But yeah, it was just, I recommend it. I think that maybe not everyone is the target audience, but I do think that it is a great show. And it's more than just the sexy times. So,
didn't they do that same plot point in Ted Lasso, where the gay
did
soccer
they?
player
Who was the
didn't?
gay soccer player?
Oh
I didn't watch
gosh.
season 3, so that's gonna be,
Oh, okay.
if it's that episode.
Colin. So
Oh,
and he everyone's on the field hugging their partner, and
oh,
he has his partner come down, and so he has a big moment where he kind of outs himself to the world at
yeah.
that point. I'm not trying to take anything away from Heated Rivalry, and I'm sorry I busted out laughing when you mentioned it, only because I have a story about it. My daughter was
Oh,
watched it as well, and her and her friends watched it, and they were just having a blast one night. They're out in the living. This is during winter break,
oh,
just a couple weeks ago. They're in the living room and they're just Googling it over and over and over and over again, and looking up that and oh gosh, it's a couple other shows similar. And if you know how internet works, whatever you Google through your router, they
yeah.
sell your information right away.
Oh no.
So I'm on my computer in the other room, and all the pop-up ads are take how gay are you quizzes. And I mean, every single one, like boom, boom,
Oh
boom, 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 boom.
my
And I'm like, what is
gosh.
going on? So I asked
It's a
my daughter,
message from the universe.
what are you Googling out there?
Oh
So
my
that's why I
gosh.
busted out laughing when you
That's
mentioned heated
lovely.
rivalry.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to her next time I see her. Through your
Absolutely.
phone, I guess. Yeah, about that
Exactly.
show.
It
Yeah.
usually happens when we're together. I
Yes,
call her
yeah,
on
very
FaceTime and you get to
true.
talk to her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for letting me go through that. And
That was quite a TED talk.
I know, seriously. And then, I had to give the context. Movie or movies that you have seen.
Um, I'm gonna pick a superhero film. I mean, there's
Okay.
probably truly better, films out there, but the one that meant the most to me was Thunderbolts.
Oh,
Because it's more than just a suit. First of all, the script is fantastic. I think the script is incredibly sharp. I think it's some of the funniest lines Marvel's ever delivered in any movie. Um, it's the wrong heroes at the wrong place in the wrong time, which is great. But every superhero movie ends, with a big battle to save the city, or there's some blue beam, going to the sky. I mean, whatever. We've seen it a
yeah.
million times. This one, I mean, yes, the New York was under threat, but really what this movie was about mental health.
Yeah.
And a lot of people brush away mental health issues. I've got a lot of people in my life that struggle with mental health issues. My daughter feels very strongly about mental health issues. She's in not-for-profits that are helping to raise awareness for mental health issues. And so seeing them address mental health issues head on, and some people criticize how they did it, but I'm just saying, thank goodness they did. I felt like it's one of the first superhero movies that had something to say about the human condition,
Yeah.
and everyone needs somebody to lean on. And I'm getting awful clump just talking about it. So there you go. Thunderbolts, sorry.
Lovely. No,
Getting
yeah,
emotional.
I loved that film, and I felt like, yeah, we're tackling something that's deep and meaningful.
Yep.
And also we're getting back to better Marvel too,
Mm.
through that. And yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, I agree with you.
What about you?
Yes, I cheated and I have three, but they are vastly different genres. So I cannot go into 2026 without mentioning K-pop Demon Hunters because that also is deep and meaningful because you see, these great songs and you see K-pop demon hunters and then you see the color and you're just like this is schmutz, like it's not going to be anything. But I think just like the found family, living authentically like who you are, finding people who accept you for who you are and the struggles that we go through. I think there are just some really great themes that there, it's not a kids film, I think it's everybody. And on the outside, having such a cultural phenomenon that is focusing on Korean culture, I think is really beautiful. And behind it, EJ, one of the main songwriters, and just hearing her story, and she was a failed K-pop idol, and coming back and turning that around, and like look at what's going on now, winning Golden Globes, winning Grammys, probably going to be Oscar nominated. To be honest, it's just really great, and I hope that people give it a go. Um, Predator Badlands.
Really?
It so I love Alien and I really like Predator. I think the Predator series maybe less than Alien, but when Prey came out by the same director, Prey is amazing.
Yeah.
That's like probably a 10 out of 10 for me, with how great it is. And so we got the director back. Wasn't sure with the trailer like what's going on here, who is Elle Fanning playing, etc. Was a bit nervous, but I really liked this film. Not only, I think, in its discussion of toxic masculinity to a certain extent, but having, again, like a found family, being able to balance humor with, seriousness as well as action, like doing a great job there, seeing myself in the Elle Fanning character, which other people said that as well, because she, I don't think I've ever done this to you, but at the end of like days or trips, I'll be like, okay, highlights and lowlights. And at the end of a particular battle, she looks at the predators like, oh, that was great. Tell me your favorite part. Or her just going, hi, because I do that to Harry all the time. So, seeing that and just, yeah, it was such a surprise. And this guy who's just trying to gain worth in his father's eyes. And so that's why he goes to this planet to get this like crazy killer and this monster thing. But yeah, that was amazing. I highly recommend.
Did she ever look at her predator friend and say, "Don't you speak to me"? Did she ever do that? Because I mean, if
She
you're
did
saying you,
not. I
I was gonna say if
know.
you relate to her, I'm just saying that's one thing
Yeah.
you perhaps have done to friends before.
I've only done that once or twice.
Okay.
When did that happen? Noon on a Friday or a Saturday?
First thing in the morning. First time I see you in the morning, don't you speak to me.
Wow. Yeah. You must have done something.
What did I do in your dream?
Who knows? The final one, which is out now, I'm sure it's also going to be getting Oscar buzz, is Hamnet, which
Hmm.
is based off of a book, but a really beautiful and moving film, with grief and family and love at the center of it. And of course, kind of the lead up is Hamlet comes out of this, and Jesse Buckley being amazing, and Paul Pascal is also in that. So, and Chloe Zhao is the director, which I would love for her to win a best director, but I'm afraid that it's going to go to, what is his name, Paul Thomas Anderson, because of one battle after another. But we'll see. But those are my three vastly different favorite films of 2025. Do you have a best bad movie that you watch? I did not.
I didn't think I did.
Oh, oh,
But
and you've
then
got one?
I looked back at some discussions we'd had on the Fire and
Oh,
Water Network about movies, and there is a dumb
oh,
movie that I laughed a lot during. It was The Naked Gun with
oh, the
Liam
new
Neeson and
one.
Pamela Anderson.
Okay.
I went in, like, I saw the trailer initially and I'm like, that is so stupid. And yet some of those bits in the trailer made me laugh really hard, especially the
Yeah.
O.J. Simpson joke.
Oh,
And then I watched the movie and I'm like, I can't be enjoying this as much as I am. This is just stupid. But there you go. It was the best bad movie. So
lovely. Yeah, I almost put My Fault London because everyone knows that I love romances between step siblings, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same
there's a whole genre
as
on the internet for you, by the way. But
I no,
anyway,
I'm aware. Um, it was just not the same as My Fault, the Spain, that because that one had, clear good bad lines like "Kiss Me Until I'm 18." We didn't have that here, so it was more, yeah. Out of context, it sounds really bad. In
Oh
context, it
yeah, it
also
does.
sounds bad. The context is what you could imagine, but this one was, I would say, better written, so I can't really call it a bad film. But I did watch it twice, and I'm eagerly awaiting the sequel.
If you watched it twice, you must have liked it.
Yes, I told you
Okay.
I love the step siblings. Cruel
Okay.
Intentions. Gotta love it.
Okay.
Okay. And Leia, Luke,
True. True.
sports event.
Yeah, I picked FSU baseball. Went to a few games this year,
Ooh.
Florida State University, and this year we went to or I should say last year, 2025, we went to the NCAA baseball tournament
Oh my
regionals,
gosh.
and we cleaned up in the regionals, which was great. I was there to watch them beat Bethune-Cookman and Mississippi State. Had a great time. FSU then went on to the super regionals and got our clock cleaned, but that's
Oh.
okay. It was a lot of fun being there for those games, and I'm very fortunate to live in the same town as FSU, so I get to watch their baseball games, and it's always exciting.
Yeah. Mine overlaps with my live event, which was seeing the Buffalo Bills play the Tampa
Oh,
Bay Buccaneers on November
right.
16th for a nice little birthday gift. I think it was maybe 30 degrees, 20 mile
Oof,
per hour wind. I was
oof.
definitely wearing my snow gear, but it was amazing. It was also very stressful. It had the most lead changes, I think, in any NFL game ever. So you can imagine my stress, but
Oh,
we
wow.
pulled it out, and won against them, which is great. And of course, now we're in the playoffs. Fingers crossed for us against the Denver Broncos. But that was just, it was amazing to be able to do it. And it's their last season in Highmark Stadium since they're going to the new stadium. So it was lovely to see this team that I root for live and in color, as they say.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
You're part of Bill's Mafia.
Yeah. I'm smashing tables left and right.
Well, I know I misheard you a moment ago because you said this sporting event was also your favorite live event. That can't possibly be correct because I know what your favorite live event was this year.
Are you going to say Baltimore Comic Con?
It better be Baltimore Comic Con because you saw me.
I did, as well as many other people's.
Yes, yes. That's my favorite live event. I had a great time at Baltimore Comic Con. I got to see a lot of friends that I haven't seen in a number of years, spent a lot of time with them catching up, which was a lot of fun. I love going to these big comic conventions. I mean, at dinner we had what, like 14, 15 people
Yeah,
at some
yeah,
points. I mean, it were
yeah,
huge amounts of people. And just a lot of fun getting together. I mean, that's really why I go. I mean, it's cool to meet the creators, but I really go to see friends and
yeah.
Stella.
That's and me. Yeah, I just insert myself in there. Yeah.
Well, no, you notice you weren't part of the friends part of
You're
that. It was
right. Yeah,
friends
that's why I
and
said I
Stella. So
just
yeah,
insert
yeah.
myself in there. I just have
Yep.
to track you down because the locator chip that I have inserted under your cuticles. And so I find out where you're going to have dinner and then I show up.
True that, man. Now I know how you're getting there, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to cut my nails shorter.
Lovely. Well, thank you. Thanks for
Hmm.
participating. So
Lots of fun.
2025 wasn't half bad, huh?
We only spent the first hour of the show on that.
Yeah, well, that's okay. People want to hear about joys in the midst of many sorrows. But he's
Yeah,
right.
2025 was a crap year. I just want to
It
say, we just
was.
talked about favorite things.
I
That
know.
was a rough year, and I'm glad to have that
Yeah.
dumpster fire in the rearview mirror.
Yes. So let us hope for bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But this is the main event. This is the reason why I had Shagalicious come on. We're going to look at this 2006 story, Infinite Crisis, which is
Whoop
crazy.
whoop.
Yeah. But first, we're going to take a
What's
break.
crazy is that it's 20 years old. That's what's crazy is that it's
Oh,
20 years old.
I didn't even
That's
think about it.
insane.
I didn't even think about it. So we're
Hmm.
gonna take a break. When we come back, obviously, Infinite Crisis. But first, this is Radio Hour, I think, featuring Pig Pony Club by Chapel Roan. Thank you. Um, I guess I'll just keep going. I mean, whatever.
I did think of a song, but I don't know
Oh,
the
did
name of
you?
it.
Oh,
Well, it's from the F1 movie.
oh.
It's
Was it by
and I
Tate
don't.
McRae? Was it Sirens?
I think it's a guy. See, that's the thing.
Oh,
I just know the music part of it. Like I don't even know
yeah,
what the because I think it's a kind of rap kind of style. Like I
sure.
don't even know what the person's saying. I just like the musically. Like, ooh yeah, okay, I'm getting in the vibe. I feel like a fast car, but I don't even know the
Oh,
name of it. I don't know the
oh,
artist, anything. So that's why I didn't mention it.
gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna stop.